The planet matters and Leighton Park gets it. Our community is incredibly passionate about sustainability, not only because it's one of the core Quaker values, but because both as individuals and a community, we want to make this world better.
CLOC stands for Climate of Change, and we're a group of students who, after the school took a group of sixth formers to COP26 in Glasgow, decided that we wanted to have an impact on both the school and the wider community.
We interviewed various representatives, and where a lot of conventions were taking place, where various companies such as Sky, Hitachi, even students who are doing research projects could show off their innovations to help the impact we have on climate change.
I'm now going to continue putting effort in and out the school to support ventures for sustainability and continue research in my own time, as this is a problem that's going to affect myself and my peers the most.
So we've come together and we've started lots of different initiatives to try and make the school more eco-friendly.
It's because of these people and our love for the planet that we've been able to make incredible progress in becoming more eco-friendly.
Over the past few years, Leighton Park has
begun to set up an initiative with bokashi bins,
introduced Sustainability Week for Year 9 and 2 Biodiversity Days for Year 10.
Started 4 co-curricular sustainability hobbies.
We partnered with Reading University for climate initiatives.
Sent 5 students to the COP26 in Glasgow.
Held multiple sustainability-based competitions, including the Towns and Garden Design Competition and the Gilmore Award.
We increased the number of vegetarian options in Oakview, and so much more.
It started in Scotland, it ends with
us, 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 us,
us, us,
us,
us,
us, us,
us.
The CO2 concentration in the atmosphere has increased more during my lifetime than it varies naturally between glacial and interglacial cycles. So as a result, that's the kind of scale of atmospheric kind of experiment and forcing that we're playing out. The climate that we've got already is warm enough that it's melting glaciers and ice sheets much more than we'd expect or would be naturally happening. And so we've already got tied into the sort of future for a considerable period of time.
We rich people in the north are not the ones that are going to suffer most, and we have the biggest responsibility because historically we have emitted more than anybody else. The people who have done least to cause climate change, which would be the very poor people in the global south, have done almost nothing to cause climate change, but they are suffering its impacts already.
I come from a country that is so impacted by the climate crisis, where people have to go through drought and, children have to go through struggles of finding food and water.
Living on the front lines of the climate crisis quite often, so they have lived experience of what's happening on the ground. And also because their cultures are thousands of years old and they've got lots of knowledge about how to look after the planet.
If you kind of sit there from a developed nation perspective and have the West arrive and go, oh, you naughty people, you need to stop your emissions right now and halt your development, when we got rich by being completely and utterly irresponsible in climate and emissions terms, and developed our wealth by extracting natural resources through force, power and conquest from your countries, you can imagine why that's a little irksome. It's super irksome.
What's become really clear at this COP is that it's about way more than just climate. It's about climate and biodiversity, it's about climate and gender, it's about climate and education. So I think it's become much more multifaceted.
COPs are interesting to understand. So COPs don't make new law or new commitments in the formal sense. What COPs are is people made a declaration in Paris to meet a certain set of climate goals. And then what they did is all the nations who signed up to the treaty, hence COP being called the Conference of Parties. It's a conference of all the parties to the treaty, get together every year and hand in their homework and say, this is what I did in order to make good on my commitments.
So there's all the conferences that are happening at one level, there's all the press conferences, there's people coming in to do business and talk, there's all the NGOs doing impact, and there's international organisations all doing different projects around the world.
I think there's been a really good example set here at COP26 of the work that we can do to take action on climate change. I think it's really great that we have you here. Young people, climate action is going to come from you, and it's going to massively impact on your future.
On the very first day, we had Marianne Carlson, who was head of the subsidiary body of implementation, And as she was saying, I mean, yes, it looks like we're moving with baby steps, but when you think about how many countries, it's 192 countries, how many people are involved, it's actually amazing we're moving anywhere at all. I know that's not very satisfying to hear, but it's just extremely complex.
What we have to realize about net zero is just the scale of the transition. It's not just about transforming our energy system or just changing our transportation system or our agricultural system or our industry. It is about all of the above. Absolutely everything has to change and go to zero emissions.
We need every country to do more, and we need businesses to be part of it, and we need towns and cities, and we also need people to be part of it. But the good news is there's solutions.
A lot of our existing technologies like wind power, like solar power, are absolutely critical to meeting our climate goals. At the same time, there are new technologies or very young emerging technologies that aren't quite there yet. So for example, direct air capture in a way that is going to be cost competitive and affordable and scaled around the world.
Over the last 2 weeks of COP, we've had some really good commitments made by the UK government and also global governments as well for the future of nuclear energy. And nuclear is a low carbon form of energy. It's green, it's on par with renewables. So we're feeling really positive.
It has to do a lot on how we change our behaviors, our consumption patterns, what we buy, what we eat, the transport we use.
When consumers start changing their habits, it sends a market signal and companies then start changing themselves. Slow move towards plant-based diets, huge innovation in creating synthetic meat. All of a sudden you no longer need tens of millions of cows. Gone.
Each of us can do these things in our different ways, and it's changing our behaviour, but understanding what else is being done and connecting up with others to do more things together.
And we need to move money into the right places very quickly and to not stall or go slowly. So that's very challenging. I think we can do it, but it's going to be it's going to require a great deal of effort and focus.
Climate change can be very daunting and frankly very depressing. Certainly the way it's portrayed in the media is it is this catastrophic, damaging event that is barreling towards us, and there's very little we can do to avert it. And I think it's really important not to be depressed and not to be pessimistic.
You know, I am optimistic. I've been in a few sessions. I see in each of those there's been enough in there to convince me we've got those tools to do something. The worry is, of course, we won't integrate those and put those together.
Solutions might be more complex, but actually they'll involve more people, which means that they'll have more chance of success. I guess that's kind of what I feel. I also feel I'm basically an optimist, so I feel like, yeah, you know, we can do this, but we really have to try.
We have the technology, we have the people are aware of the problem, understand the problem, so that's why I'm optimistic, because we have everything we need. We have the money, it's just that you need more faster action.
It will be a long fight, so we have to strap in and get ready for a few more decades, but we will get there. Yes, humanity has the capability of doing this if we put our minds to it, and I think we will.
Climate change will make COVID look like a tea party, and it's just that it's just over the horizon, so we're failing to act. But the bad news and the good news is it's no longer just over the horizon, it's coming at us really fast. And I think that will spur us to act quickly. The question is, will it spur us to act quickly enough?
Unfortunately, I would say I'm pretty pessimistic about the future of the climate. We've been aware of the sort of human-induced climate crisis now for quite a long time, and yet it's not just that there's sort of no change, there's no inflection at all in the sort of greenhouse gas emissions. They continue to go up relentlessly, so I know that we're sort of in a position where things are in principle starting to change, but if you actually look at the greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere, they are not showing any positive signs. They're actually increasing in concentration at an exponentially increasing rate.
I think that people can have whatever view they want on climate change, but it's so important to note that we have all the infrastructure and all the knowledge we need to stop climate change tomorrow. If all the world's leaders decided to take action, we could stop the damage right away. The problem isn't lack of knowledge, it's that no one is pulling together, so nothing gets done. We should be optimistic overall because we have everything we need to stop climate change and save our planet together.
This film is our way to spread awareness beyond our direct community. We want to start a student-driven movement encouraging people to look at their role in the community and promoting collective activism.
We need to do something now. This video is our tiny call to action in a sea of chaos, but small things can make a difference. So have a look at your life. Make a change. Spread the word. Educate yourself, and together we can make a difference. Together we can change the timeline. It's time for change.
The most important thing that I would love for every child and young person to focus on right now is their love for nature and the people, and the love for action from the leaders as well, because once we have that, then optimism about the future is going to just be everywhere.
How do we turn that and get you young folk into the debating halls along with the people in the blue suits and so on?
You have to start by caring, right? Because if you don't care, you're like, well, what do I care? Throw away the plastic. Just use the planet as a dump. And we can't use the planet as a dump. Of course, you're not going to save the planet one straw at a time, but it does make a difference because it means you care and you're going to push other people, including the leaders of countries, to care.
Politicians respond to pressure, and they respond to what they see as the incentives and disincentives to action. And the more we create a bulwark of pressure against them, the more they're going to do the right thing. And the more we go to sleep and pretend or think this is all going to happen automatically or by default or osmosis, the more at risk we are and the more of a free pass they get.
Because it's the optimists who get things done. If you think something's pointless, well, why would you get out of bed in the morning? Yeah? And then, of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If none of us got out of bed in the morning, then we would end up exactly where we think we're headed, which is towards a long-term catastrophic outcome.
Now, you can change things at the level of what you wear, what you do. That's consumption. That's important, and commerce reflects that as well. And governance also, that's important. Every 5 years they change the electoral cycle and they reflect the voting patterns of people. So if you campaign on that side, that's important as well. But when you get down to nature, which is something which is very big and what we're trying to deal with, the best thing we have is culture, the values we hold dear. And those values we learn in our early years as we get good education, and we carry those through our lives, and that affects everything else we do, all our decisions, our actions. And so that's why it's really important at this stage to discuss and learn about what climate change means and your understanding of it in your life. So that's, I think, what we've done.
That was a really great ending. Thank you.